Hello dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you will be fine. My name is Engineer Bir Manusha. I am lecturer in the Department of Technology, Sarat University of Science and Information Technology, Peshawar. As I am teaching you the subject Design of Hydraulic Structure, today is your lecture number 9. In lecture number 9, the topic we will study about is Koszla method of independent variables, which is used for determination of pressure and exit gradient for seepage below a weir or a barrage. So coming to the topic, in order to know how the seepage below the foundation of hydraulic structure is taking place, it is necessary to plot the flow net, or in other words, we must solve the Laplacian equations. This can be accomplished either by a mathematical solution of the Laplacian equations, or by electrical analogy method, or by graphical sketching, by adjusting the streamlined and equipotential lines with respect to their boundary conditions. But all these methods are very complicated and they are time consuming. So therefore, for the designing of hydraulic structure such as weirs or barrage or maybe pervious foundations, Koszla has evolved a simple, quick and accurate approach which is called method of independent variables or Koszla method of independent variables, through which we can easily design a hydraulic structure such as weirs, barrage or pervious foundations, etc. In the method of independent variables, a complex profile like that of a weir is broken into a number of simple profiles, each of which can be solved mathematically, and mathematical solution of flow nets for these simple standard profiles have been presented in the form of equations and figures and curves, equations given in figures and curves, curves which are given in plates, which can be used for determining the percentage pressure at various key points. And so for the simple profile which are most useful for analysis, Koszla divide the complex profile of a weir into simple profile in 3 steps. In the first step, a straight horizontal floor of negligible thickness with a sheet pile line on the upstream end and the downstream end. As you can see in the figure, in the first profile we have a sheet pile on the upstream side and on the downstream side, and percentage pressures at key point. For finding percentage pressure at key points, equations are given, and through these equations we can find the percentage pressure at various key points. In the second simple profile, a straight horizontal floor depressed below the bed without any vertical cutoffs. In the first we have vertical cutoffs, but the thickness of the floor is taken as negligible. But in the second case we have a depressed floor of some thickness with no vertical cutoffs, and for this to find the different percentage pressure at key points, we have equations given, as you can see in C. So you can find the percentage pressure through these equations, and this is the simple profile number 2. While in simple profile number 3, a horizontal floor of negligible thickness with a sheet pile line at some intermediate point. In the first we have a sheet pile line at the upstream side and of the downstream side, while in the second simple profile we have no sheet pile line and only have a depressed thickness, depressed flow. And in the third simple profile we have simple profile we have sheet pile line at some intermediate point with a negligible floor thickness, and for this to find the percentage pressure at various key points, for example E, D, C, the equations are given as you can see in the figure. Through these equations, you can easily find the percentage pressure at these key points. So Koszla divide a complex profile into simple profile, and through the simple profile you can easily find the percentage pressure at various key points. This is the graph. You can also use this graph for finding the percentage pressure by taking various parameters, and we will use this graph in problems or examples to find the various key pressures at various key points. The equations are given here, and some values can be found through this graph, or directly you can find the values through these equations, as you can see, or find the values directly through the graph. And this is the graph for exact gradient. Clear? This is the formula for exact gradient, which is G is equal to H divided capital H divided by D into 1 divided by pi unknown root lambda. The key points are the junction of the floor and the pole lines on either side, and the bottom points in the pile line and the bottom corners in the case of depressed floor. So the key points, as we already studied, are the corners of the sheet pile line and at the end of the sheet pile line, and also the corners of the depressed floor in case of depressed floor. And the percentage pressure at these key points for the simple form into which the complex profile has been broken is valid for complex profile for itself, and if it is corrected for the following corrections. The first correction to be applied for this is correction for the mutual interference of pile, while the second is correction for the thickness of the floor, and the third is correction for the slope of the floor. So when we find the percentage pressure at various key points, this correction should be applied to the percentage pressure to get the corrected percentage pressures. In the first correction, we will find the mutual interference of one pile over the another, and for this we have correction formula, which is denoted by C is equal to 19 under the root capital T divided by B dash into T plus capital T divided by B, where B dash is the distance between the two pile lines. As you can see, the distance between the two pile lines is denoted by B dash, and D is the depth of the pile line, the influence of which has to be determined on the neighboring pile of depth D. So D is to be measured below the level at which interference is desired, and small d is equal to depth of the pile on which the effect is considered, while B is the total floor length. So putting these values, you will get the correction C, and this has to be applied on the percentage pressure, which we find through the equations of simple profile. So the correction is positive when the point is in the rear or back, and while the correction is subtractive for the point forward in the direction of flow. Means if the point is in the direction of flow, then the correction which we find should be subtractive, and if the point is in the rear or back side of the water, then the correction should be positive. This equation does not apply to the effect of an outer pile on an intermediate pile if the intermediate pile is equal to or smaller than the outer pile and is at a distance less than twice the length of the outer pile. So this equation applies only when these conditions are obeyed. Suppose the above figure we are considering the influence of pile number 2 on pile number 1 for correcting the pressure at C1. Since the point C1 is in the rear, this correction shall be positive. So when we find the value of C through this equation, as you can see this equation, then this value should be added with the value of C1 to get the corrected percentage pressure at C1, since C1 is in the rear direction or on the rear side. While the correction to be applied on applied to E2 due to point number 1 shall be negative, since the point E2 is in the forward direction of flow. Similarly, the correction at C2 due to point number 3 is positive, and the correction at E3 due to point number 2 is negative. So when the point is in the rear or back side of the pile, the correction should be positive, while if the point is on the front side, then the correction should be negative. The second correction to be applied for the thickness of the floor is, in the standard form profile, the floor is assumed to have negligible thickness. So hence the percentage pressure calculated by Koszler equations or graphs shall pertain to the top level of the floor, while the actual junction points E and C are at bottom of the floor. Hence the pressure at the actual points are calculated by assuming a straight line pressure variation. Here is the figure. As you can see, since the corrected pressure at E1 should be less than the calculated pressure at E1 dash, the correction to be applied for the joint E1 shall be negative. Similarly, the pressure calculated at C1 dash is less than the corrected pressure at C1, and hence the correction to be applied at C1 is positive. The correction should be found through these equations, as you can see in the figure. For different condition for the upstream sheet pile line, the correction at phi C1 due to thickness of the floor is equal to 1 and do not need any correction, because at this point the percentage pressure is maximum or 100%. So there is no need of any correction at point for E1, phi E1. At C1, the corrected thickness is equal to T1 multiplied by into phi D1 minus phi C1 divided by T1. Through this equation, we will find the corrected thickness due to corrected thickness of the floor, and we will add this to the C1. In the second or intermediate sheet pile line, the corrected thickness for E2 should be calculated through this equation, which is T2 into phi E2 minus phi D2 divided by D2, while for C2 the corrected thickness is equal to T2 into phi D2 minus phi C2 divided by D2. For E2 it is negative and for C2 it is positive. Here T2 is the thickness of the floor, while D2 is the total depth of the floor, and phi D2 is the percentage pressure. Phi D2 is the percentage pressure at D2, while phi C2 is the percentage pressure at C2. Similarly, here T1 is the thickness of the floor and D1 is the total depth of the floor, and phi D1 is the percentage pressure at D1, while phi C1 is the percentage pressure at C1. While on the downstream side, the sheet pile line C3, CT E3 means that the corrected thickness of the floor at E3 point is equal to T3 into phi E3 minus phi V3 divided by D3, and it should be negative. Here T3 is the thickness of the floor at E3 point, while phi E3 is the percentage pressure at E3 and phi D3 is the percentage pressure at E3, and d3 is small d3 is the total depth of the sheet pile, and this should be negative at E3. Phi C3 is equal to 0 and don't need any correction, because at C3 the total percentage pressure at C3 is 0. Since it is the exit point, so the total percentage pressure at C3 is 0. So at the start the percentage pressure should be maximum, while at the end it should be minimum. The third correction to be applied is correction for the slope of the floor, and this correction is applied for a sloping floor and is taken as positive for the downward slope and negative for the upward slope following the direction of flow. Some of the values of correction of standard slopes, such as 1:1, 2:1, 3:1, etc. are calculated and tabulated in the table. As you can see, for 1:1 means 1 horizontal and 1 vertical, the correction factor is 11.2, and depending upon the condition, if the slope is downward, this should be positive, and if the slope is upward, this value should be negative. Similarly, for 2:1 means 2 horizontal, 1 vertical, the correction factor is 6.5, while for 3:1 means 3 horizontal, 1 vertical, correction factor is 4.5. For next 4:1 means 4 horizontal, 1 vertical, correction factor is 3.3, and so on. The correction factor given in this table is to be multiplied to the horizontal length of the slope and divided by the distance between the two pile lines between which the sloping floor is located. This correction is applicable only to the key points of the pile line fixed at the start or at the end of the slope. Next, at the end we will find the exit gradient, and to find the exit gradient we will use this equation, which is GE is equal to capital H divided by T into 1 divided by pi under the root lambda. Exit gradient is to be determined that for a standard form consisting of a floor length V with a vertical cutoff of depth D, here lambda is equal to 1 plus under the root 1 plus alpha square divided by 2, where alpha is equal to B divided by D and capital H is equal to maximum seepage head. So by putting these these values, we will get the value of exit gradient. And for different type of soil, some safe exit gradient values are also given in the table below. For shingle, the safe exit gradient is 1/4 to 1/5, means 0.25 to 0.20, and for coarse sand it is 1/5 to 1/6, means 0.20 to 0.17, and for fine sand the safe exit gradient is 1/6 to 1/7, means 0.17 to 0.14. So these are the values of safe exit gradient for different type of soil, which are already calculated through the above equation. So through this equation we can easily find the value of exit gradient. And this is the end of our today's lecture.